This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
We look back at the Agnes flood with a journalist who was there to cover it 50 years ago, next. Hi everyone, and thanks for your time today. I'm Ken Carr with your local information. 50 years ago, David Decosmo's reporting on the Agnes flood in the Wyoming Valley helped save lives. Today he reflects on that time with our Lisa Sugart.
On June 23rd of 1972, water broke through the Susquehanna levee system. The result is what we know as Agnes, the flood, as many call it still today. I am pleased to be joined by a man who not only lived through this, but had to report on it as well. One of our area's finest renowned journalists, David Decosmo, now retired television journalist, but very well known for his work in radio and television over the years. David, you were working at the time, so tell us where you were working and what it was like when Agnes hit.
Well, Lisa, I was at WILK Radio. I was the news director there, but we were the emergency station. We had a two-way radio at the Luzerne County Courthouse, and I decided rather than bother them constantly with telephone calls, I would go over and call back reports on the two-way radio. This was as the river was threatening. As it happens, the one person who didn't show up for a civil defense was the public information officer, and I was drafted in that position. My boss at WILK, the late Roy Morgan, okayed it. And so I fed back reports constantly from Civil Defense Headquarters. Now, that headquarters was in the sub-basement of the Luzerne County Courthouse, not the basement, the sub-basement. And consequently, it eventually got flood water coming in. Actually saw the water coming up through a drain in the floor. But I was able to establish a radio network of 13 area radio stations who, an hour, gave flood-related information. And because that network was formed, radio was called the hero of the hour. And I must tell you, that network would not have been formed were it not for a Hazleton broadcaster, Ron Giulianardo, Ron J., who was at WAZL.
I remember Ron J. I worked with him at WAZL.
Wonderful man. He helped me get into the business. And Ron told me if we gave him permission to carry our signal on his airway, he would retransmit our broadcast. That's what gave me the idea to set up the network. And that network saved a lot of lives.
Dave, that must have been like an emotional roller coaster because you're doing your job as a journalist, which is tough, but you're seeing the area that you love and live in and report on being flooded. So what was going through your mind at the time?
Well, remember that for a time we thought we could stop the flood. We called for 10,000 volunteers to put sandbags on the levee system. We got them. But unfortunately, on this day, 50 years ago, the river watcher, Nick Suchak, got a report from Towanda. And we knew if the river was at a certain level at Towanda, that we couldn't avoid the flood in Wyoming Valley. And that is the point, roughly 11 o'clock in the morning, when General Frank Townend, who commanded Civil Defense, said, David, we're going to sound the siren. We're going to evacuate first the people manning the levee system sandbags, and then the entire community. And that is when I said those infamous words, get out now. And of course, the devastation was tremendous. There were some 60,000 homes affected in our general immediate area. And yet, Lisa, I must tell you this. We were the hardest hit area. 120 lives lost in Pennsylvania because of Agnes. 3 deaths in our area, and 2 of them were rescue workers. The lessons learned, if you're told to get out, because if you don't, someone has to put their life on the line to try and rescue you. And many people were rescued by boats and by helicopters from their rooftops. The other suggestion, keep your valuable wedding album and personal photos close at hand, because the one thing that I heard for months and months after the flood was we could rebuild our home. We couldn't get the wedding album back.
So now We see the documentaries that have made around this 50th anniversary. I talked with Alan Stout about the one that is showing today at the FM Kirby Center. It's sold out, and there's 2 more showings on the 29th. And you said there's another one on WVIA today as well. And you are part of both.
Along with about 50 interviews that I have done. But it's important to remember, and more important than remembering Agnes, it's important to learn from it. Those 13 radio stations I told you about that kept everybody informed, they don't exist anymore. There's only a few. So today, were you to have an emergency, you would probably get an alert on your cell phone. But that would be like an Amber Alert. They could tell you something is happening. When it comes to specific information, to tell Joe that his wife is safe on the other side of the river, our cell phones aren't designed to do that in terms of a wide variety of notifying people. Something's going to be done. I'll be talking with FEMA emergency management workers across the country very shortly, and I expect they're going to come up with some ideas for how to keep people informed in lieu of those radio stations that just aren't there anymore.
Today's news feature is brought to you by Falvello Law Firm. Have you been injured in a car accident? Call Falvello Law Firm. Your case is our fight.
We'll have part 2 of that story with David Decosmo on Friday on SSPTV News. For the final time, the 6-County Firemens Convention will be held this weekend. The 118th convention will be hosted by the Freeland Fire Department and the Whitehaven Fire Company No. 1. The public is invited to a memorial service and parade on Saturday. The service is at 11 a.m. at St. Mary's Byzantine Catholic Church in Freeland, and the parade starts at 4 p.m. in Whitehaven. You can visit the 118th 6-County Firemen's Convention Facebook page for more information, including the parade route. The 6-County Firemen's Association is made up of firefighters from Luzerne, Lackawanna, Schuylkill, Columbia, Montour, and Northumberland counties. In a Standard Speaker article, one member pointed to a lack of volunteers as one of the reasons the convention is coming to an end.
Time now for weather on SSPTV News.
Here's our forecast from the National Weather Service on Friday. Mostly sunny with a high near 78 degrees. Friday night mostly clear with a low around 58 degrees. Saturday sunny with a high near 84 degrees. Saturday night mostly clear with a low around 61 degrees. Sunday mostly sunny with a high near 84 degrees. On Sunday night, showers likely mainly after 2 a.m. Mostly cloudy with a low around 62 degrees. We have a 60% chance of precipitation. On Monday, showers likely with thunderstorms also possible after 2 p.m. It will be partly sunny with a high near 76 degrees. We have a 60% chance of precipitation. On Monday night, a chance of showers and thunderstorms before 8 p.m., partly cloudy with a low around 53 degrees. We have a 30% chance of precipitation. Coming up, information on a free breakfast and lunch program for kids in the Hazleton Area School District this summer, and a story on the Hazleton Area Unified Track and Field team made up of students with and without special needs.
SSPTV News would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Brittany Lee Nielsen, age 35, of West Hazleton. A funeral service will be held on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. at the Butler Chapel of the Crofton Hughes Funeral Home. Friends may call on Friday from 6 until 7:30 p.m. at the funeral home. And Catherine K. Temporovich, age 90, of McAdoo. Mass will be held on Friday at 11 a.m. at Church of All Saints. Friends may call on Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. at the church. The Damiano Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements.
Tonight's obituaries are being brought to you in part by Harmon Funeral Homes and Crematory, with 2 locations in Rockland and in Drums, 570-384-3312 or 570-788-0977, and go to harmonfuneral.com.